Greetings, and thank you for joining us for the 16th episode of DC Animation with Spenser and Friends. This is an LMG Podcast Production. Today, I am joined by a dear friend.
Let me tell you who the fuck I am. I'm the ounce on the key. I'm the bounce on the beat. You can ask anybody. I'm Larry to Pete. What it do?
Larry's here joining us today. And Larry, you are technically my first guest to appear on more than one episode.
Hey, what you know, that's how it should be. You already know that's how it should be. That's how day one started it together.
So, as I'm sure the people know, generally you will not hear the same person 2 episodes in a row, but this is a part 1, part 2 situation. And so we have brought Larry back to discuss today's film, which I cannot wait to get into. If you want to know what Larry's background and experience with DC is, you can listen to our last episode. We go over that a little bit. But, me and Larry, we've been doing this for a while. Larry was the first person that I really kept up with these movies with. And we would make time to watch them together.
Now we 31 and don't have no time.
There's no time for anything. It's terrible. Oh, goodness. But, I appreciate you for joining us on this journey through DC animation. Today's film is Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 2, released January 29th, 2013, and the comic book on which this is based is The Dark Knight Returns. I will read a synopsis in my own words, and then Larry and I are just gonna get into it. We're just gonna talk about it. And so we open with the news discussing the effects of Batman's return. The Joker tricks Dr. Bartholomew into getting him onto a talk show. President Reagan decides to get Superman to handle the Batman situation. A liquor store is being robbed by a new random crime person named Bruno and her henchmen. Batman, disguised as an old woman, handles them. Bruno begins to run away, and Batman begins chase. While trying to get information, Superman interferes because they need to talk. At the policeman's gala, Commissioner Gordon officially hands over the job to Ellen Yindel, and the very first thing she does is put out a warrant for the Batman's arrest. Clark and Bruce have a discussion at the Wayne Ranch. Clark tells him that he needs to go back into retirement, but of course, Bruce is still living by the wish creed. So he ain't having it. The Soviets and the U.S. are fighting over occupation of Corto Maltese. The Joker meets with one of his henchmen to prepare for his television appearance, and the police are gearing up for it because, they know there's going to be some mess. Batman shows up, and the police attempt to arrest him, but that doesn't work. On the talk show, Dr. Bartholomew blames Batman for all the bad stuff the Joker has done, and the Joker slashes his throat with a broken coffee mug. Then the entire audience gets Joker gassed. Things aren't going well for Batman, so Robin comes in clutch with the Batcopter, up with the police officers. The Joker then visits Selina Kyle and uses mind control lipstick to get her to have one of her girls use mind control lipstick to have a congressman demand that the U.S. nuke the Soviets over the Corto Maltese business. Batman, dressed as O'Halloran, shows up to get information from the police and learns that it was one of Selina's girls that led to this. They find Selina bound and dressed as Wonder Woman, and they are led to the fairgrounds, and the fight begins. Robin accidentally kills the Joker's henchman, and the Joker is running through the fair just fucking people up. Batman has a final encounter with the Joker before the Joker snaps his own neck. Batman takes a little nap, and then he has to evade the cops again. Robin calls the copter and is able to get Batman out of there. The Soviets send a nuke to Corto Maltese, and Superman intercepts. The detonation releases an EMP, so everything is blacked out. There is chaos, there is looting, there is violence, but Batman ain't having it. He gets on the steed and lets the people know that he is the law. It is at that point that the police commissioner realizes that Batman is simply too much. President Reagan sends Superman back in to handle the Batman problem because he's making them look bad. Bruce has a talk with Oliver, and Oliver wants to be involved with the taking Superman down because he's pissed at Superman for taking his arm. Superman issues a challenge, and Bruce calls the venue. The military clears out the area so that they can do this thing. With the help of Oliver's kryptonite dust arrow, Batman comes out with the W. Then he has a heart attack and dies. Alfred blows up the Wayne Manor, and then he has a stroke and dies. At Batman's funeral, Clark hears a heartbeat because, of course, Bruce is not really dead. He and Oliver start an underground operation to teach the youth how to keep Gotham safe. Credits. So we don't need to. Well, we can revisit voice actors. We don't need to revisit art style because it's literally the same. But we can revisit voice actors. So one in particular. What were your thoughts on this portrayal of the Joker?
I'm mad at it. I don't know who that guy is, but both of these movies had some people. There's only a few people that I knew who they were, but I wasn't mad at the random casting of it. I was like, all right, it fits. It's cool. Yep. Because we're dealing with older people anyway, so it's like, all right, that's it is what it is on it. So yeah, the guy who played Joker was pretty cool. Yep. What about you?
I think I'm in that same boat. Of course, this is not the voice that I hear in my head when I think of the Joker, but I was happy with this casting. I was not bothered by the casting. I didn't hate it. I didn't have problems with it. It wasn't a situation where I was like put off or taken aback or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think that it was a solid performance and I was very happy with it. I think it fit. I think it made sense. And yeah, I think it was good. Same with Superman. Like, I was pretty happy with Superman's portrayal. Whoever voiced Reagan did a good job.
Oh, did an excellent job.
Yeah.
I heard the devil in it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I still think that the voice acting was very solid. Again, whenever it's a situation where it's not the people I'm used to, but I'm still happy with it, that's honestly the best you can do.
Yeah.
In a situation like this. So we see the Joker perk up a little bit now that Batman's in, the Joker's in. So I think now is a good time to really talk about Dr. Bartholomew.
Yeah, let's talk about Bart, because I was trying to hold back. Me and Spencer trying to hold back last episode. This nigga is a whole educated man that is a fucking idiot.
Fucking idiot. What are you doing?
I just don't understand.
Well, and here's the thing. Because of what he thinks of Batman, he's not blaming these criminals for doing what they're doing. He's blaming Batman for that. And so he thinks that not only is he rehabilitating them, but he also is under the very false impression that like they are only doing this because of Batman. So if there wasn't a Batman, then everything would be fine. And my thought is the fact that the Joker was catatonic when Batman was inactive, and then Batman's activity woke him back up, should make it very clear that even if those two are connected, the Joker's not, he don't need to be released.
He don't need to be released.
He don't need to be on a talk show. We don't need to put him back into the world
at all, because he was fine. He was in wherever he was at. He was around people, and he wasn't doing nothing.
He was in Arkham,
And
and he was
you
good.
moving in Lively now? Oh no, send that nigga to solitary
Yeah,
right
like
now.
we've seen what he's done. But again, Dr. Bartholomew. I mean, the Joker manipulated him into putting him on the show. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
Just
think
like Harvey did.
yeah, and it's so funny to me that Dr. Bartholomew was basically saying that Batman had, you know, he had narcissistic and sociopathic tendencies, when it's like, no, Dr. Bartholomew, I think that your narcissism has you believing that you are like really getting these people to the point where they are, and it's maybe because we're on the outside looking in, we know that these people do not need to be in society. And I admire the desire to rehabilitate and to help people who have done bad things be better, but we are talking about a different level of crazy. And with what happened with Harvey Dent, that should have been let's not try it again.
With what happened to Harvey Dent and that people died, and the fact that they let Bart do it again
with somebody worse.
You know what that spelled out to me? White privilege. Because let that have been a black doctor. Oh.
Yeah. He would have been, they would have taken his license. They would have given him the chair. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. If that had been a black doctor, because it would have been his fault. All the shit Harvey did, that would have absolutely been his fault. If he had been a not white doctor, even if he had been a female doctor, it would have been.
Yeah, that'd have been bad too.
Yeah, like there was that was absolutely white privilege. So there are a lot of things, or there are a few things that happened before we get to the talk show. So one thing that I thought was really great in this movie, Batman's costume game was fire. Like Batman's disguise game, like we don't see that very often. But
for a little bit. Last week or something? I guess so. Yeah. So with that, let's talk about, because I got that down in my notes, because that has always stumped me in this movie.
Yeah, like he was the old lady, and he was an old lady. Like, you know that transformation that the evil queen makes in Snow White? That's what this was. Like, he took a potion and turned into
an old lady.
Like, he was even like smaller. I don't understand.
If you guys have watched this movie, you saw how big Batman was compared to when he was standing next to somebody else. When he was that old lady, like Spencer said, she was a lot thicker, a lot bigger, and quite much, a lot shorter too. Like, you shrunk. I was like,
yeah.
How you doing that? Here? Hey, you said it great. It was a potion. It had to be, because it was.
Yeah. There's no way. But yeah, like that was his costume game was so good in this movie. And whenever he put Robin in the mutant costume, I was like, okay, that was really good. He didn't have to do a whole lot, but it was still really good. But yeah, like whenever he came dressed as that old, I was like, oh, the detective and the like sneaking around and getting, oh, I really like this Batman. Like, he gets it done. And clearly he still got it. So one of the things that we also talked about was these mutant kids just kind of going from leader to leader. We talked about if you have a charismatic leader, then, you know, getting followers is not the hard part. And so that's one of the things that the liquor store guy mentions. He's like, you kids will just go with whoever, won't you? And so now this Bruno shows up, and Bruno is a Nazi.
Nazi, and there's a reason why you know she's a Nazi, because
Bruno makes it abundantly clear that she is a Nazi. There is no confusion. There's no negotiation. No, Bruno is a Nazi. a double Nazi, if you
Yeah.
if you really think about it. Because and yeah, Bruno was that was very feminist of Bruno to be dressed the way Bruno was.
Yeah, because let me tell you what, Bruno, I don't know what the hell you can probably have my money, because Lord Jesus. And so with it, since I'm actually critiquing the movie this time, I was seeing with the animation, if all the movements, if they made them move, because they're just out there, they're and unless you got some plastic surgery going on. Yeah,
when Bruno was kicking the old lady, the things was moving.
They was moving. Yeah, they were moving. I was like, okay, I see you guys got made a move. I didn't know if y'all was gonna do that or not. Yeah.
So yeah, the the liquor store owner is prepared kind of to take care of the situation. Bruno shows up, and then Batman shows up as the old lady and starts going to work as the old lady. And then we're chasing Bruno, and yeah, when he hears Superman, he's one of the things that was great is whenever he was about to shoot that kid in the head, and he's like, pull that trigger and I'll be coming back for you.
Yeah. And that was the
that
thing.
Was terrifying.
The thing is, how the old man know that was Batman? Because he called him Bats. And I was like, oh, so you just knew?
I think once he started going, he was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. That old lady's not about to just be going to work like this.
Yeah, but that was a good line, though.
And then, so yeah, Bruno's being chased, and Superman comes through, and there are some people that fall into the subway, and there's a blind man who's going to die. But Superman, one of the things I always wondered is like, why instead of moving the man did you stop the train?
Boy, your notes is just like my notes. You have been hitting all the things that were supposed to be happening right now. Because how many people you probably hurt doing that? Because that train came to a complete stop, and yeah. I know
there were people standing. Yeah, like the people, if nothing else, got like jerked and gonna be sore because yeah, that train came to a hard stop.
Could have just easily grabbed the man and got it out the way.
Yeah. And so
superhero world, they don't care,
Yeah, and they needed us. Yeah, they needed us to see that Superman was like strong enough to just and not like it was nothing. It was just, another stop on the journey. So that was weird to me. But yeah, Bruno start, just trying to shoot Superman, which that's what you do. And then Bruno got locked up in the pipes and then got knocked the fuck out. And
punched her ass.
Yeah. And I really like how much Superman respected Batman, because Batman said, we will talk in the morning. Until then, stay the fuck out of my way. And Superman was like, got it. And left.
Because at this point in the movie, you don't we haven't seen Superman yet. We've seen like his cape, his body, or whatever, the silhouette of him, but we ain't actually seen him.
Yeah, to this point, we still haven't seen him. We just know that he's there. And so in the morning, that scene was, the way they were dressed and like that whole thing was just so funny to me. I was like, this is so American. Like Superman is in his little open shirt with his boots, and he's got the Captain Morgan stance, and a fucking eagle comes to him.
Hey, he was really rocking that. I ain't even mad.
It was fire, but I was like, this is, oh my God, this is so on the nose, but I really kind of like it. And then, they have the discussion, and it's so funny to me that Superman often gets checked in these movies, because, Superman is always lecturing about, the right thing to do and justice and all that. And one of the things that happens in this is Batman says to him, we're all criminals. The only difference is you have a boss. Superman had nothing to say.
Yeah, because you old Boy Scout ass nigga. You know
Yeah.
what you are.
Superman, there are a lot of these movies we've talked about where Superman gets checked by somebody. In the second episode, he got checked by Wonder Woman. In the 14th episode, he gets checked by Manchester, because Manchester's basically saying to him, like, all that superhero bullshit, no, like, that's not, it's okay for your government to go killing people, but when we do it, it's a problem. But your government does it literally all the time, and that's who you answer to. And Superman had nothing to say to that.
Nope.
And so, this is another situation where Superman kind of gets checked because there's not really much to say. Whenever Batman says that, because he's like, no, we're all criminals, Clark. The only difference is you have a boss and I don't. Because I'm not doing that. And Superman basically says, somebody with authority is going to tell me to come get you. And he said, and when they do, may the best man win. So you got me fucked up if you think I'm about to just give. No, I don't answer to you. I answer no goddamn body.
Superman don't have to answer to anybody too. Because what
he doesn't have to.
What are you going to do?
But that, again, I think a part of Superman's power is just goodness in general. But yeah, Batman was like, no, I don't answer. Like, I'm an embarrassment to them is why they're mad. They're mad because I'm not just going to acquiesce. And yeah, I'm not doing that. So no, if they send you to come for me, that's what it's going to be.
In the comic book that you have read, I am interested in knowing about what happened 12, 15 years prior to this that led them to this point, to where they're looking.
Now, I have not read Frank Miller's. I don't know if there's any material in the in-between. I know that we have Batman Year One, and I know that we have this one. There may be issues in between. There may be an issue where we actually see what essentially comes down to being like the superhero registration, or the superheroes doing kind of what happened in The Incredibles, where like they make an agreement to retire and go underground. I don't know if that actually happens or if it's just alluded to. I'd be surprised if that wasn't actually done, but if it was, I am not familiar with it. So that may be some research that I would need to do, because I'm not. These are the only 2 points of Frank Miller's Batman that I'm actually pretty familiar with, is what happens in Year One, and like maybe a little bit after that, and then this point.
Yeah. I just always wanted to know, because 10 years is a long time. Are you telling me in 10 years that?
Because I want to see what happened to Oliver. Like, I want to see it.
Oh no, because like you said, everybody they talk about. He basically talks about the Justice League and everybody. He's saying that we all stopped or whatever.
Yeah, he said Wonder Woman went back to Themyscira. Hal left the planet.
Like what?
Yeah.
Why?
What did Martian Manhunter do?
Didn't want to come down in 10 years. Y'all beat everybody. Cool. All right, everybody's beaten.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know. Like, I am assuming that there was nothing catastrophic enough that happened where anybody was needed. So, because it sounds like Superman's just dealing with earthly shit and relatively domestic matters, maybe the occasional international situation. But yeah, so we can talk about Corto Maltese then.
Yep, that's my next thing on the notes. Cool. Boy, I'm telling you, me and you hitting it.
So what I didn't know, and what I actually had to research, I assumed that Corto Maltese kind of just represented Cuba.
Does it not? Because that's what we've always thought.
I mean, or like some country that's similar to that. And it might, but I learned that Corto Maltese is named after an Italian comic book from the 60s. Like there's a guy whose name is Corto Maltese, and he's a comic book character from an Italian comic book writer from like 1967. I had no idea that was a thing.
Me neither.
But
because it's still Cuba in my mind.
Same. Like it's still just an analog.
That was the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Exactly. That's
exactly what it is.
Yeah, for me, it's just Cuba. Like Gotham City is. Some people say it's New York. Some people say it's Chicago. Whatever.
I always thought it was on the East Coast. It ain't Chicago. I'm thinking it's on the East Coast, somewhere like Pittsburgh or something like that. You know.
Yeah. I've always viewed it as New York, and then Metropolis is like Los Angeles, but they're fictional. It doesn't matter. Because I feel like East Coast makes sense because there's like a Gotham Harbor, and that just makes me think East Coast.
Yeah, and it's dirty.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's an analog for New York City. But anyway, yeah. So the Corto Maltese situation is, brewing, and the Soviets and the US are fighting over it, and Superman just kind of goes in and handles it. And one of the things that Reagan said is like, we've got God on our side, or at least the next best thing.
So you guys as the viewers don't know yet, but these DC animations do a very good job portraying these presidents, and there's one that's gonna come up, and boy, I tell you what. He could have been the voice actor playing himself in that. I was like, wow. You know what I'm talking about too. Yeah.
And we'll talk about it later. The people will just have to wait for us to get there. But yeah, the voice actor who did Reagan, this was a good Reagan as far as I could tell. I was not alive during the Reagan times, but from what I understand, this was a good Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that does happen, so there are a lot of things that are happening right now. Not Superman. Gordon at the policeman's ball hands over the commissionership to Ellen Yindel, and Commissioner Gordon pretty much says, "I really hope that you make friends with Batman because he's here to help." And those are not problems you want, I promise. And she says, nah, fuck that. I'm arresting him because he's a criminal.
Hating. Straight hater.
Just really being a hater. And it's like, Ellen, you're going to learn, just like everyone else. You don't want these problems.
Nope.
And so, now, with we're jumping around a little bit, but there's a lot of different points where stuff happens. So, or rather, a lot of this stuff is happening simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So the Joker is preparing for his television appearance, and one of his henchmen comes. Now, I've never known his henchmen to have names, so like I don't know if he has specific, or like his henchmen always die. Like his henchmen are never. Like the only hench person that he has for any length of time is Harley.
Yeah.
But otherwise they're just random and nameless, because this dude was not necessarily like he felt Toyman-ish in what he was able to do. Just with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he comes in with the nose things, and he says, only breathe through your nose. I've been by your side this whole time. I'm glad you're back, all that. And one thing that I do like is that the police, like Ellen Yindel was like, even though nothing has happened yet, there's going to be some shit. Mm-hmm. So we need to be prepared to take care of it.
So she was smart on that, because she had it all ready.
Also, the voice of Ellen Yindel, I love her. It's Hawk Girl from.
Oh yeah. Wizards of Waverly Place.
The mom from Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah.
I love her. She's great. If she can be in any DC project she wants, and I'm here for it.
She did a good job.
But yeah, so she's in here, and when Batman arrives, they immediately Batman starts fucking him up. It's kind of an issue, and yeah, like he said, the Joker planned for this. The Joker knew I would be coming. he set this whole thing up, and it's kind of an issue. And so then we get to the talk show.
Real quick, before we get to the talk show, while Batman's up there effing him up, Yendel and one of the cops had me cracking up because as Batman's beating everybody up, she's like, rush him. He was like, rush him?
He was like, what? That was hilarious.
Rush him? You go rush him. We see what the hell he's doing.
He's twice your age, son. Find the nerve.
So appalled that you told me to rush him. I'm not gonna do this.
I'm not doing that. Yeah, because like I'm watching what happens when he gets rushed. Like they just did that and it didn't work. What do you mean rush? That was hilarious. Again, I love situations where people are like, do you know who that is?
Yeah,
like, no. Yeah, I love it when people are like they use discernment. They're like, no, I don't think I will. Yeah, she said he's twice your age, son. Find the nerve.
Find the nerve.
You find the nerve.
You for real. What you think this is?
Yeah, like I'm watching him do this. Rushing him clearly won't work. So, Joe, we get to the talk show, and whenever, like right before the talk show, we see Bartholomew's talking to the Joker, and the way that the Joker looks, right then I was like, oh, there's about to be some shit. Because you can only see like the eyes and like some silhouette of him. And I'm like, he looks so fucking ready to kill everyone in this room. Like, look at him, Bartholomew.
Educated asses don't see it. You just don't see it.
Yeah, like look at him. Like look at him right now. And tell me that you feel safe letting him. So then he goes to see Conan O'Brien. And Conan is like, so you've killed like 600 people. What's the deal there? And Bartholomew just gets to talking. Now you stop right there. This is a sensitive man.
Yo, dumb ass up.
And Joker was like, no, I got it. I'm going to kill everybody in here.
Boy, at that time, if I was in that audience, I'd have been like, yep, I knew I shouldn't have came to this shit. Let me go ahead and slide on out of here.
Yeah, I'd have been like, as soon, because the Joker's one person, if he says, I'm going to kill everyone in this room, I know he means it.
You're a clown prince of crime.
I'm leaving.
Making jokes like, nah, ain't no joke I'm trying to be a part of.
I'm leaving. I'm not staying there for that. That's not even something I'd want to see. I don't want to be in the same room with him. I know what he does to people.
Yeah.
So no, I wasn't no black people in that audience. From what I could tell. But anyway, yeah, so he says, I'm gonna kill everybody in this room. And Conan is like, wow, all right, that's a great way to break the tension. And Dr. Bartholomew was like, he doesn't mean that. It's like the Joker was like, oh, I don't. Okay. Hey Conan, can I keep this mug?
Yeah, we got plenty of them back in the closet.
Yeah, plenty of them. Like, wow. And he's just, long as you won't miss it. And then, the little weird kids come in, and they made those kids so ugly.
They really are.
And I know that they did it on purpose, but yeah, like those kids were gross looking.
And nobody could just get out of the room.
Yeah, I guess the room was locked from the outside, and so how that happened, but whatever.
Yeah. Y'all up there messing with Batman. Meanwhile, all these people are dying with the Joker, fighting the wrong person. What's going on here?
Because that's the thing that I wonder is why weren't there any police already in there or around or nearby? Like, what were y'all gonna do from the roof if something happened?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, somebody should have already been in there. Even if it was a small team, there should have been somebody in there to, die along with the people, honestly. But like there should have been some police, representation in the room when that went down, I think. And the fact that there wasn't is weird because whenever Ellen Yindel said neither of them leave free tonight, when were y'all gonna go get the Joker? Like when was that gonna happen? Because he was able to get out without any problems. So obviously the exits weren't like I don't understand, but you know,
the wrong man.
Yeah, they wasted too much time on Batman, which yeah, that's how that's gonna go. And so cool. Joker, everybody gets gassed, and Robin comes in clutch with the Batcopter. So Batman is able to get out. And then the Joker goes to see Selina, and he immediately is like, "Oh."
Which, once again, y'all, from my comment last time, Selina was just so bad. I don't know what happened in these 10 years. But my good God Almighty.
Yeah. Time just these, and that's the thing, like these are city miles. Like these people have done some hard aging, because assuming Selina is roughly the same age, there are 55-year-old women who don't look like that.
Yeah.
And I guess there are 55-year-old women who do. Because I guess when I think 55, that's not 55 isn't quite there yet in my head. And so maybe, you know, my perception of people is off. But yeah, no, that's not what 55 looks like in my head, assuming Selina is roughly the same age. But I would assume Selina is a little bit younger than Bruce.
That ain't my Selina. That ain't what Selina look like in my head.
And let me say this about that. Gordon's wife, assuming that he and her are roughly the same age, which I would imagine she's younger than him, but he's in his 70s, so she's got to be in her 50s. She's more what I expect a 50-something-year-old woman to look like, and she may be older than that.
Probably so.
Probably so. Yes, and while we're talking about her, that is Gordon's second wife. If you noticed, whenever Jim had to go to the grocery store, you may have noticed a family photo of Jim's first wife. And you may have also noticed that the picture of Jim's first wife and Jim in that picture was him from Batman Year One. And so, again, this is these two movies happen in the same universe. And so, like, that picture is essentially taken from that movie. So if you watch that movie and then you see that photo on the wall, you're like, yep, that is exactly what that is. So yeah, just, you know, a little something for you to pay attention to. But back to what's going on. So he uses mind control lipstick on Selina to get her to get one of her girls to then use mind control lipstick on the senator or the congressman who demands that the Soviets, or that we do a strike on them over the Corto Maltese situation. I don't quite know how that, like, I don't know how those things are connected. Like, I don't know why the Joker was trying to do that, I guess.
That was going to be my question to you. What did that have to do with anything? Did he just want to cause chaos because that's what he does, or what?
I'm guessing, because that feels like a larger plan that like Lex would come up with or something. Now, I know that the Joker is very tactical, and the Joker does possess the necessary skills to make these kind of things happen and all that, but I'm wondering if this is just him wanting chaos, or if there was some kind of goal that he was wanting, or if there was something he was trying to get from that, if that was a part of a plan that he had, because that's something that I don't know if we'll ever know. But you know, that was strange to me. Not necessarily a problem, but I can attribute that to the fact that the Joker just wants the world to burn. But it just felt like that was really elaborate and was not specifically related to Batman at all.
No.
Well, and I mean, even if it was a situation where he's literally just trying to give Batman problems, he didn't need to do the congressman part for that to happen. Like, all he needed to do was visit Selina.
Yeah.
And, that would have been, he would have been good there. But, so another great disguise, he dresses up as O'Halloran. And yeah, when he showed up as O'Halloran, Yindel just, Lieutenant, here's the info.
Yeah, it looked like him. You got me too.
Yeah,
once again,
he looked like O'Halloran, just a little dark. But yeah, like, again, Batman's costume game in this movie was so good.
The big difference between his disguise and the real Halloran was that chin.
Yeah,
you could tell that Batman chin, but yeah,
and Batman was darker skinned than O'Halloran was. But yeah,
they showed a death on TV.
Yeah,
that cameraman filmed all that.
And then the black dude who was the reporter, he was like, well, dude just died. Let me see if I can get a statement. Like,
what? Boy, there are two. Yeah, that was that was wild. And I was like, well, I guess y'all just used to this, huh?
Yeah,
desensitized Gotham.
Like Derek, I think his name was Derek. Yeah, he was just unbothered.
Well,
like he might as well be like, well, another one bites the dust. Anyway, let me see if I can get a statement from Commissioner Yindel.
Get them cameras out of here.
Yeah. Oh, that shouldn't have been funny, but that was really funny. I had to rewind it. But so he dresses up as a Halloran. He finds out that it's one of Selina's girls, and then he finds Selina dressed up in a Wonder Woman costume. And that's the part where I'm like, yeah, the Joker was just being shitty to Batman by putting her in a Wonder Woman costume and binding her, which is another callback because Wonder Woman has an extensive history. She's been around for a very long time, and she spent a lot of her time being written by men of an older generation. And so there was one point where Wonder Woman's literal only weakness was being bound.
Yep.
And that was, just a little homage to that. And I'm like, you didn't need to do that, but okay. Whatever. If Wonder Woman showed up, because Wonder Woman's one person who has never had a problem with killing people.
No.
Like, I don't care which version of Wonder Woman it is. She has no problem spilling blood and ending lives.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, Joker, if you want those problems, Diana can give them to you. Oh God, yeah. Wonder Woman didn't need to be in this movie, but she absolutely could have, and it would have been welcome. I'd have been like, yes, bring her in. I love seeing Diana in things. Absolutely. So we are led to the fairgrounds, and they get there, and the fight begins. And so
at the carnival.
Yeah.
Now we here.
And so whenever Joker's like, I'll handle the bad man.
I'm not getting no cotton candy from somebody wearing that mask. No, I don't want to go to that one. There's plenty of other ones at this carnival that I can go get where I can see a face.
Yeah, I will keep going.
I'm not getting it from that.
I'm not doing it. I'm going to keep going. Because I would not. No, we're not doing that. What? No.
Real quick, I'm driving down the street today, coming home from work, and guess what I see? A nigga in a Scream mask driving, and he was turning left, and they looked at me, and I was like, "What the fuck? What's going on here?" I was like, "Boy, if I see some shit on this damn news tomorrow about somebody didn't die, because that was crazy as hell. People doing some crazy shit."
Yeah, in July. What are you
driving
doing?
with a whole Scream mask on? I was like, all right.
Yeah, but whatever. So yeah, he better be lucky you didn't have the piece on you. Because that's a situation where it's like, you don't want those problems. But so we get to the fairgrounds, to get to the carnival, and the little weird kids are causing a problem. And luckily, they're not a huge problem. Like, they just kind of get dealt with. They try to detonate themselves to cause a problem, and it's like not an issue. And then Robin accidentally kills the guy because he's about to kill her, honestly.
No self-defense in my eyes.
That was absolutely self-defense.
Once again, strong, because that was a big fat dude. And she used them quads to get off of me.
Yeah. And yeah, she's strong for that. But again, we're dealing with super people. So one thing that we'll talk about that here in a second. So the Joker, he's just causing a ruckus. And whenever Batman throws the batarangs at him and one hits him in the eye, and the Joker's like, have you lost your mind?
Are you out of your mind? Boy,
yeah, I was like,
y'all don't understand. He had a whole hostage. Usually, as what Joker remembers, I have a little leeway because I have this hostage right here.
And Batman doesn't kill anybody.
I don't care right now. I trust my aim good enough while you still holding her that she ain't gonna get hit and you gonna let her go.
Yep.
And Joker was not expecting that. He said, I had her. You could have hit her. I wouldn't.
No, one word about it. Yeah, like, if I would have hit her, that's just what it's gonna have to be. Yeah, like the Joker was not prepared for that, and I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
like he was not ready. And then they go into the Hall of Mirrors. He takes the kid and just starts shooting people.
No, hold on. You skipping past a whole bunch of. We got to talk about the Joker's line to all of them. That boy was running and just walking and just fucking dudes. I had to rewind it like 3 times just to see what he was doing. Spencer, he took some dude and face planted him in one of the mirrors and cracked it. I was like, Jesus.
He was fucking people. Whenever he ran into that room, I watched it because my wife walked in while I was watching it at that point, and like he was just knocking their
ass out.
He was knocking the fuck out of people, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Knocked that one dude out in front of the kid with the backhand of the gun, and then he was talking to the kid, and then his mom tried to step in and straight said, "Bitch, back up."
He knocked her. He knocked her the fuck out. Oh my god!
Like you just don't give a damn.
Yeah, like that scene of him like entering the House of Mirrors. He was fucking people up, and I had to watch it a couple times. And then whenever the kid was like, "Batman's gonna kick your ass," and Joker was like, "He gonna have to go through you first." No, Joker. No, I don't think I will. And then they start fighting some more. Batman gets shot because this Joker is not playing around. And then the Joker empties the clip because one of the things Shaniqua said was like, that gun should be empty by now, as much as he's been shooting. And then when it is empty, she's like, okay. And then he finds another one because people freeze. No, shoot him.
Why? Why are we doing it?
There's nothing to talk about.
Hey, bro, for too long he's been shoot him.
There's nothing to talk about.
Dying. Nobody needs to shoot him. If you shot him in the back, nobody in Gotham is going to prosecute you for shooting somebody in the back. Kill him.
No, and that's the thing. I'd be worried like, oh no, I'm going to have to deal with Batman if I shoot him. That's fine. Batman will not kill me. But Joker got to die today. I will go down as a hero. I will be a champion of the people if I shoot it. Yeah, like no, there would be no freeze. If I saw the Joker and knew it was the Joker, I'm putting him down. And that right there is exactly why. He took his gun and there were a lot more people who died because of that. And
because now
one of the things,
the tunnel of love at this time.
yes, and one of the things again that I think is just excellent movie making was this was a different gun, so the gunshots were different. Like the gunshots sounded different, which I feel like a lot of animated movies or even live action movies wouldn't have paid attention to, because there's kind of just a gunshot sound that is usually used for things, and the fact that they had enough attention to detail to make those two guns sound different is just another part of what makes this excellent.
Good thing.
So yeah, the tunnel of love, Joker. If I am in the tunnel, because there was that last couple that was still in the tunnel. No, if I hear the shit going on back there, because especially in the tunnel, those gunshots you're gonna know exactly what that is. I don't care how far into the tunnel you are, you're gonna hear it. There should not have still been people in that fucking tunnel whenever they heard gunshots. I would have been out that bitch so quick. But
yeah, the tunnel of love and death and robots. That's what I call that, because that it was what, maybe some pink water or whatever. That shit turned red real fast because he was laying out.
Yeah, he was putting bodies down. And so we get to the tunnel of love, and they start fighting, and Batman, no more.
No more. No more.
That was one of my favorite lines in this movie. No more. Because he had fucking enough. He said, the number of people I've killed by letting you live, it ends today. And this is
I don't know how many people I've killed, but he said, I kept, I know you did. And
I love you for it. Yeah, he's like, I have no idea how many people I've killed. I've kept count, and I love you for it. And then this is the movie where I first used the word jug in reference to stabbing someone.
Jesus.
Because, whenever I think of shanking somebody, I think of it being like really, really close, like what you do in prison, like you just kind of get up on somebody. No, but like to jug somebody, he reached back and like, so he jugged him twice, and it was at that point that Batman brought that neck around town, and then there's the Joker's got some lines. The Joker makes it very clear, like, no, I got what I wanted. I made you lose control. I made you break. I can die in peace now because I did exactly what I set out to do. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see you in hell. And then the Joker snapped his own shit. Now, Larry, I have two things to say about this. Firstly, in the last episode, I said that this movie did two things for me. This movie let me know that the Batman is human. And this movie let me know how crazy the Joker is.
Yeah.
I knew that the Joker was crazy, but the way I saw crazy was still in a box. I needed to see this movie to understand the level of crazy that the Joker is, and that my mind wasn't there. Like, that wasn't possible to me until I saw this movie. When I saw this movie, I was like, oh, that's a level of crazy that I didn't comprehend quite yet. And I needed to see this movie to understand that. He snapped his own fucking neck, Larry, and he did it without his hands. He just turned slowly. And
it's like,
and necked himself. And I was like, so the first time I watched this, it was this whole scene that let me know what crazy is at that level, because I didn't have that in my head.
When I first watched it, I didn't know I had to rewind that part, because I was like, whoa, what just happened? I had to rewind and be like, oh, Batman put his hands on him with that stuff and did something real fast, and it was enough to where Joker said, "Ooh, I know what just happened," and you just effed up. Now I might still be coherent and moving, but all I gotta do is this little simple move and it's gone. Because you didn't effed up with it. Yeah. So I just didn't know that Batman was the reason when I first watched it of that quick motion. Because he was stabbing him shit. He was like, dang, this shit hurt. Get off of me.
Yeah. Now, Larry, I got something for you. This is what I realized, or this is what occurred to me this time when I watched the movie. So we have seen in this movie that mentally Batman is not okay. Now, whenever I saw what Batman did to the Joker, whenever I saw Batman bring him around town, that to me absolutely should have killed him. So I ask you this question. Do we think it's possible that Batman actually did in fact kill the Joker, and all the things that the Joker said to him were only in Batman's head? Because again, with what I saw Batman do to the, like, he brought it around town. Like, you don't come back from that, because Batman brought it around further than the Joker did on himself. Joker hit like a 90. Batman hit him almost with like a 135 as far as degrees go. And so Batman, as far as I saw, like, what Batman did absolutely should have killed him. And so
at this time, Batman is shot. He's been slit across the stomach, and he got those stab wounds.
And he got jugged.
He's losing a lot of blood. So if he is hallucinating, it's quite possible, because yeah, you losing it.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The fact that the Joker says to him, I made you lose control, that is what leads me to believe that Batman actually did it. Because if the Joker killed himself and everybody just thinks Batman did it, that's one thing. But if Batman actually did it, then it would make sense that he would then have a vision of the Joker saying to him, essentially in the afterlife, like, I made you lose control. You've been obsessed with me. I've been obsessed with you. This is the perfect way for this to end. I made you do what you said you wouldn't do, even though this Batman is fine killing people. But yeah, that is one, like, again, the first time watching this, I just took it as that motherfucker crazy. And it's a level of crazy that I was not understanding until I watched this movie. Because I watched that, I don't know how many times I've watched that scene alone. Because I was like, no, I need that back a few times. But this time when I watched the movie, I am really thinking, because Batman needed a nap. Yeah, like
he went and sat by him and was like.
And again, this movie, like, this time watching the movie, I didn't realize, or I guess I realized it, but it didn't occur to me how much kind of attention they give to Batman's mental state in this movie and how not okay he is. I mean, whenever he's talking to Harvey and, all of the flashbacks that he's having, and, the fact that whenever the Joker's burning, he's like, stop laughing, shut up, don't look at me. Like, he's doing all that shit while the Joker's body is on, like, incinerating. And he's like, stop laughing at me. Like, Batman's not okay.
He wouldn't.
And so I am thinking, based on what I saw Batman do to the Joker, the Batman killed him. And then all of the stuff that the Joker said to him between him getting his neck snapped and him snapping his own neck was just happening in Batman's head, because Batman was the only one there. And again, if the Joker framed Batman, then that wouldn't have met the Joker's dream. Like, that's not what the Joker wanted.
No, Batman definitely killed him. Even if the Joker finished it off himself, like I said, he knew what his body felt And he was like, "Oh, oh, you got me, huh?"
You did, yeah, you got me now.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say these little lines, and I'm gonna go ahead and dip out of this thing because I got it. So yeah, you done fucked up now, boy, huh? Bye. So yeah, no,
so
Batman did kill him. I mean, they, as the police, had all rights now to kind of go after this dude because now you didn't. Once again, it's the Joker though. Are we really gonna sit here and be like, he didn't know? No, you
because that's the
did.
thing. Because they would have killed him. Like the police absolutely would have killed him.
Oh yeah, yeah. And in Batman's defense, he was sitting here jugging me. I had to get him off of me. I couldn't take any more stabs.
I left DNA all over the place because of this fucking guy.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, when he spit on him, I was like, Batman, why would you do that? But then he incinerated his body. I was like, oh, okay, that's why. But yeah, he was leaving just drips of blood all over the place. And so, yeah, like, I don't know how good forensics was in 86, but, they could have probably used a lot of that to figure out what the situation was. So, yeah, that's one of my favorite moments. That whole sequence, like the moment they get to the fairground, it's so good and
just chaotic.
It's so much chaos.
I'm doing his stuff.
And again, this is what I needed to understand what the Joker is. This is what I needed. There were a lot of times when, I'd see the Joker do some crazy shit, but like, this is the movie where I was like, oh no, that's a different tier of crazy.
So now Yindel and Batman takes his nap. The cops are coming through. He's trying to get out of there a little bit. He uses that gun. I'm effed up. Use that gun. He's like clumsy. Then there was a point where Yindel sees him and is about to get him and stuff. And I got in my notes, I was like, oh yeah, equal lefts and equal rights. Yep. Jim tried to tell your ass, I hope you can do this. And maybe that's kind of what had to happen to let Yindel know, like, And I was talking about rush this nigga. That hurt.
Yeah, that didn't feel good at all. Because she got her fucking, like, her whole shit, like, she needs a new prescription after that. He's like, freeze, bow. Like, ooh. And then that's what she was like, if it's not a cop, shoot it. I'm mad.
Man.
Oh, this shit hurt. So yeah. Again, Robin comes in clutch and just lassos his ass up, because that's what we're gonna have to do.
Yeah. My boy was not okay.
Yeah. And actually, even before this, one of the things that, well, I don't know if it was before or after this, but one of the things that I forgot to mention was the moment whenever they were like, oh, this was before, because I think this is when they were leaving the TV studio. Whenever they were leaving on the copter and they had like hooked themselves into the thing, and Robin doesn't hook herself and she falls.
Well, it's not that she didn't hook herself. The cops,
or it was too big. Yeah,
I think the cops.
They shot
and they hit one of the straps and it broke. She was about to fall. Yeah.
So yeah, she was about to fall, and then she was about to fall. She gets caught. She falls again. She gets the cape. He pulls her up, and then whenever she gets up there, like that was what reminded me that like she is a child.
Yeah. She wrapped around like, ooh wee. Well, that was scary. Let me.
Yeah, like, that was terrifying.
That's why he said it's like he's a good soldier.
Good soldier. Yeah.
Good soldier. I got you.
Yeah, like that. That was that moment was powerful to me, just because it was like I have got you. Like, I know that you have been out here like really saving my life all this time, honestly. Like, without Robin, he would have been done.
Yeah.
So it's good that she just, had the pluck. But yeah, like that moment whenever he was able to save her and she just held on to him. I was like, you could see, yeah, that reminded me, like, she is still just a child, honestly. But we then get to the Soviets nuking Corto Maltese. And Superman intercepts, it detonates, it releases an EMP, and everything is blacked out. Now,
well, USA nuking Corto Maltese.
No, I thought that Russia was nuking Corto Maltese because the United States had soldiers in Corto Maltese. And Superman had just ruined their whole, like he just fucked up the Russians.
I thought the Russians were sending the missile to America.
No, they were sending it to Corto Maltese.
Okay, because I'm thinking Corto Maltese is
Cuba, so it's like on the way.
I mean, this is Russian base. You got your people there too, whatever. I'm just thinking they retaliating. Okay, so you think, all right, okay.
Yeah, so they sent the bomb to Corto Maltese because they had just been pushed out of Corto Maltese by Superman and I guess the military. And it was kind of like if we can't have it, nobody can, is what I'm assuming. So Superman intercepts it, it explodes, it causes an EMP, and it sucks the life out of Superman. Now, this is the first and only time I have seen Superman suck the sunlight out of living things. Have you seen that before?
I have not.
Have you seen it after? Have you seen it ever? Has that ever been something you've seen happen?
I have not, because I watched it and I rewound this part too, and I was like, so it's raining and it's cloudy, and Clark is sitting here as the zombified Clark that we know happens whenever a nuclear explosion happens. How are you getting thicker? What's happening? And I'm thinking that since you are radiating this radiation, that's why the ground around you is dying. So what you're saying is he was taking the essence out of the ground, and that's why he got back to himself.
Yes, because that was what I saw. I saw he grabbed that flower and he basically sucked the sunlight out of it to get himself back right.
Okay.
Because it didn't, like, the radiation killing the stuff didn't even occur to me. I thought that he was sucking the life out of the stuff around him, and that's why he grew back to being his size.
That makes more sense to me, because I was really stumped up. How are you getting bigger and the sun ain't showing? I'm not understanding. Because it happened in Dawn of Justice, didn't it?
Did it? I don't think it did. I didn't think so.
In Batman versus Superman, he died, but before he died, I feel like they showed, like, didn't he stop a bomb and he had to go and fly up to the sun to get back good, and then he came back down to fight Doomsday again? It was something that happened.
And that's the thing, like him going up to the sun to get a little recharge makes sense. But yeah, for him to just, drain the wildlife of its sunlight is not a power I had ever seen him have. And maybe you're right, and that's not what he did, but that's what it looked like he did to me. So
different perspectives on it. That's cool to think that way, because I didn't think that way. So yeah.
But yeah, like that's, and if he can do that, cool. But I guess him absorbing sunlight makes sense. Again, I just didn't realize he could pull it out of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this Superman can't. Superman's got all kinds of random ass powers that nobody knows about. So the EMP happens and it blacks everything out, and Batman just knows that. Because yeah, like he's essentially in a coma until the power goes out, and then he's like, well, I'm awake now. Show me what's going on. And he's just like, yeah, this is what happened, pretty sure. And it's lucky that Batman just has a ranch, because as you know, there's chaos, there's looting, there's violence, and Batman gets on the steeds and calls order. Now, we mentioned in the last episode the somewhat usage of guns or lack thereof. Now, we see Batman use a gun to detonate the wall to get out of the carnival. But he says very specifically, like, we will be the law, but not with these. These are loud and these are clumsy, referring to the guns. And so this Batman...
And snaps the whole shotgun over his knee.
I think he just did it with his hands. I don't think he used, because he was on a horse. So I don't think he used his knee. I think he just took it and snapped it.
The whole shotgun.
It's like,
metal.
Yeah, just in the middle of it. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. That would explain why during, I think it may have been the Bruno fight, or it may not have, but there's a point where Batman, like, he reaches both arms through a brick wall, grabs somebody, and then drags them into the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? Because this Batman, he's not bulletproof, so he's not wearing armor. He's just wearing, like, leotard, or just, like, you know, clothes, because he gets shot a few times in this movie, and he gets jugged, and so normally we're used to Batman in armor that will protect him from a lot of things, but in this movie, like, that is cloth.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't have any armor to help him punch through that brick wall and, you know, break that dude. So yeah, like, this Batman is not human. That's made very clear.
Yeah.
And that's fine, honestly. Like, he can be superhuman. I'm good with that. But anyway, so Batman calls order on the steeds, and it is at that point that the commissioner's like, you know what? He's too much. There's nothing we can do. Like, he brought this city to order, and that's something we couldn't do. And yeah, he's got everybody, like, being peaceful and, like, helping and trying to actually have something going on. And then Commissioner Gordon is on, like, the other side of town doing the same thing.
You get the citizens of Gotham, and then you get the mutants, and, you know, they about to go to war together.
Yeah, that standoff was serious, because the people were like, we've had enough of this shit. And so they were getting anything they could grab: shovels, pipes, just whatever, trash cans, fire extinguishers. Like, no, we doing this. And
when he was on that horse, you remember him yoking that man on that horse?
Yep.
You know, Batman ain't healthy. Batman is just coming at this court. I've been shot, slid across, stabbed, and you still just, what's superpowers though? We just discussed that, but you know, he yoked that whole grown ass man.
Yep. Yes, he did. And that's fine. This Batman's too much. Obviously, he's been keeping up with his weightlifting and all of that. But so yeah, Batman brings the city to order, and they say on the news, like, the only city that is not in chaos is Gotham. Like, that's the only city that has order, and it's because of the Batman. And that's what we're doing. And then President Reagan is like, so Superman, it's time for you to go take care of it. And Reagan says, like, if you got to put him down, put him down. Like, it's not a problem if you got to put him down. I promise. There's a pardon in it for you. But yeah, we got to do something about him. He is making this administration look like fools. And so take care of it. And then we go to the conversation with Batman and Oliver. The first time I saw this movie, I did not know that was Oliver. I don't know at what point I realized it was Oliver, but, like, when they were talking, I had no idea that was Oliver. Because I was like, who the fuck is this man? And then yeah. And then whenever we got later in the movie, I was like, oh, that's why whenever they were talking at the Wayne Ranch, he said, and Oliver, how did he take it?
It wasn't supposed to go that way. Well, it did.
Well, it did. So yeah. Oliver's like, I don't care what happens. I just want a piece of him because I'm still mad. Yeah, the schoolboy. I want a piece because I hate that nigga. I hate him.
I hate you.
He took my arm from me to the shoulder. Like, you could have just taken his hand. No, he took the whole to the shoulder.
Yeah, you got like use like a paper clip to pin it up here and stuff, so your sleeve don't just be flopping
dangling
around. You know?
Yeah. He said it still hurts when it's cold, and it's been cold a lot. It's like, oh, yeah. I see why you're pissed. And I definitely get it. So yeah, after that, they're just doing equestrian lessons. Batman figures, no, we riding horses now, so you're gonna have to learn this.
Mm-hmm.
So and then again, Superman calls the challenge, and Batman calls a venue, military clears it, and they meet. And this is the first time that I see the bat armor that is used for the fight. And I know that Superman was not giving it his all, but Batman was beating his ass.
Beating his ass, Spencer. He was beating his ass.
Beating his ass.
You know Clark wasn't giving it a dog because he's like, for real? Bruce, like, that was 3 ribs right there. Do you want me to kill you?
Yeah, like, what are we doing, Bruce? Come on. Because Superman, he took a lot of punishment that he didn't necessarily have to take. But yeah, Superman was very much like, Bruce, I don't want to do this. And Bruce was like, no, you're gonna have to. This is what we're doing today. And so yeah, that fight scene is just great.
It was great. It was good.
It's so good.
And they really did a good job with how that armor looked. And even in Batman, a lot of people shit on Batman versus Superman, but that armor was comic book accurate because
I like that movie, and I don't hate that movie. Like, I think that movie
wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not just trash like a lot of people say it was. Like, there are much worse movies, but I thought that movie was pretty good. And I've gone on the record as saying Ben Affleck is my favorite live action Batman, and perhaps this is why. But yeah, that suit was surprisingly accurate. Like, I didn't think pulling off that suit in live action would work, and it did.
It did.
And so Batman, like I said, Batman's just beating his ass, and then Superman lets loose a little bit, and he's like, if I have to kill you, I will. But that was 3 ribs, Bruce. And then he looks at his heart, and he's like, Bruce, your heart, you're gonna die.
And Batman's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we're in the middle of something. Don't worry about me. Yeah, pay attention. And of course, prep time. So Batman prepared everything. Even when Superman was using the X-ray, he was like, gotcha. Right out the gate. And so he's like, Superman shouldn't be listening at this point. So here's the plan. Here's what we're gonna do. And Alfred just couldn't handle it. And I get it. Because Alfred had a stroke. I assume he had 2 strokes. Because
he did have 2 strokes. Because you saw him that move that arm when he put on that coat.
He had a first stroke. And whenever he was, still in the library.
Stroke, aneurysm, whatever happened to him. Yeah.
That side was done. And then like by the time he got outside into the cold and all that, he had that second stroke and it was over. And I was like, those were stress induced. I know. Because he was he figured if Batman dies today, there's nothing left for me to do. I've done all I need to do. So it was sad to see Alfred actually die. Like, I didn't like that. But
no, I didn't like that at all. I was like, damn, we didn't even talk about it or anything. Like, they shooting fireworks at here, what the hell? They didn't even talk about it. And I was like, damn, Alfred's just gonna die? I mean, Bruce did it, okay.
Yeah, but whatever. It's fine, I guess. But yeah, I didn't like seeing Alfred die. But well, I get it. He was very, very old.
We skipped a little part and what Bruce was saying before the heart attack thing happened. Bruce had hit Superman with that kryptonite dust.
Yes, and he
So
said it
when
was
he
very
got hit with
expensive
that
and took forever.
kryptonite dust, then Bruce was really whooping his ass, and Clark was bruising up. Because now I've been whooping your ass this whole time, but you Superman, so it's not. You'll be
Doing
okay.
a lot, yeah.
Yeah, but then when he got hit with that stuff, and I was hitting you with these punches, now you see what it feels like to be us every day.
Yeah, you're dealing with your own mortality.
Yeah, that's what
you're
doing.
Because that's the thing. Like he hit him with the kryptonite dust, and then he was still hitting him with full armor force.
Yeah,
like it wasn't just like regular punches. No, like he was hitting him with the same hits he was hitting him with earlier.
Because he know he can take it still. This ain't gonna kill you. I mean, you gonna feel it a lot more.
You're gonna feel it.
It ain't gonna kill you.
Yeah, you might need some reconstructive surgery by the time I'm done with you, because you're gonna be swole up. Yeah, he beat his ass.
So then the heart attack happened.
Yeah, like I want you to know in your most private moments that it wasn't Lex, it wasn't Brainiac, it wasn't Zod, it was me. I'm the one man who beat you. And now I can die.
And this going back to what you said earlier with Superman, his respect towards him, he saw Bruce was having this heart attack, and he was like, Bruce, this man just hit you with kryptonite and whooped your ass, and now you're like, my friend is dying, my friend's about to die or whatever, and he told everybody else, don't you touch him.
Don't touch him.
I will take care of this.
Yeah, because this is my friend. This is my best friend.
Now, going to are we ready? We ready to go to the cemetery now?
Yeah.
So going to the cemetery, funeral for Bruce is happening. Wayne Manor exploded. Don't know if they put that correlation together or not. That Batman seems like you have to have known, because Superman ripped off his helmet. So the world has to know that Bruce is Batman. So yeah, I guess
they said it in the news. Like whenever they were talking about the funeral, they said with the revelation that Bruce Wayne was in fact the Batman.
Okay.
And they said all of his holdings and all of his stock, like all his money, has just disappeared.
Okay.
And they mentioned that Alfred died too. They mentioned that the Wayne Manor exploded. Like they talk about all of it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so they did mention that. So the thing that gets me now, so we don't know who Selena seems like she knew who Superman was.
Oh, yeah, she did.
She knew who Superman was, and she was like, "How dare you show your face here or whatever? You know what you did." Because to Selena, Bruce was dead. She went in on the gig, and we didn't talk about that part. After he unbound her or whatever, he saw his baby. He had to go and get that little kiss. Come here, girl. Let me get it. Well, all right, I got you. Come on. You still my baby. So going back now, she knew it, but Jim didn't know who that was. And even being Clark Kent, I'm surprised. And, he was like, was he a friend of yours? And he was like, oh, good question.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
He was like, I feel you on that. Me too.
Yeah, same. Yeah. So yeah, and then he hears the heartbeat, and then he sees Robin with the shovel, and she is nervous. She's like, "Oh shit!" She didn't know what to do.
He's like,
yeah,
and, he's like, "Go ahead, girl.
Yeah, you got it."
I ain't gonna say nothing to the world. To the world, he's dead. But
he went underground like I needed him to. Because he was being too loud, he was making a scene. So
he was doing what Oliver. That's what Oliver was telling him. Is like you're too loud with what you do or whatever, and that's why you make a problem.
Yeah, so you got to do it quietly, and so that's what he did.
And he listened. Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I really like, I like a lot of things, but one of the things that specifically that I really like about this movie is we have seen movies that have, attempted to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
there are four bosses across these movies, and trying to pack too much into one movie is not a mistake that this makes.
No.
Like, it does the opposite. It spreads it out a little bit. It gives things time to breathe. It makes everything make sense. And it gives each story and each set of characters time to actually happen and happen well. And again, I feel like with a lot of the standalone movies and, the fact that they were trying to keep their movies like under an hour 30 and all that, one movie in particular that I think does it, All-Star Superman, like it tries to pack way too much into that hour.
Yeah, and when I listened to that episode, I was like, wow, because I didn't watch it. I was like, wow, was all of that in there? I had to go rewatch that again. That was a lot of stuff. Like you and Jason was like, there's a lot of shit happening.
Yeah, and it was too much for one movie. And this movie does not make that mistake. I'm on the record, this is my favorite Batman movie, period. I consider these one movie, the part one, part two, but if I had to call one of them, like this, it's my favorite Batman movie. It's so good. I love it so much. Everything about it. I have no notes. I think that they did everything flawlessly.
They did a good job.
It's so good. Larry, I know that you said in part one you give it a 10. What about part two?
Hey man, it's another 10. How could it not be?
It's another 10. It's 10. So good.
It was an 11 because the Joker brought his crazy shit out, and I wish I could remember the first time we watched it and just how in awe we were that these niggas didn't. I love listening to a new album for the first time, and I love watching a movie as good as this for the first time too, because you can't ever get those back, and you're just sitting there just waiting to see what the hell else is going to happen. It was just like, oh shit, yeah.
Like I did so much rewinding when I watched this movie for the first time because I was like, oh no, I need it again.
Yeah.
And the problem is, I think I was on one of those illegal ass websites, so it was rough to rewind it.
So now you're popping up.
Yeah, like it was stupid and it was causing a mess. And I was like, I need it back. It was so this is an easy 10. Like again, it's my favorite Batman movie. Of all the Batman movies that there are, this is or standalone specifically, but of all the Batman movies that there are, this is my favorite one. And again, I consider this part one, part two, one movie because together they're like 2 hours, 30 minutes combined.
Man, we were so young back in these times because you were still on brand at this time.
I was in college.
Yep.
When this came out. Yeah. And so this was so long ago, but again, you're right. I can't get back my first viewing of it, and I kind of wish I could, but I'm glad that I've done it because it's so good. And again, it's my favorite.
So by the time that you catch up in this podcast to what's actually happening in real life, how many movies do you think will be released by then? I'm gonna go with you're on 6. This is 16 out of maybe 40 something, maybe 50 something.
I think that as of recording, we're in low 50s. I think I'm not all the way sure, but I think we're in low 50s high 40s. I think we're in high 40s for like official DC animated movies because there are a lot of movies that aren't on the list but that count. So like the showcases don't count. All of the I think Constantine City of Demons doesn't count. The Slade movie doesn't count. Like there's some.
I think you should add.
I'm absolutely going to do them. Like they're going to happen, but I'm saying they're not on the official list. But no, I'm absolutely doing those. I'm also doing the ones that came before this: Mask of the Phantasm, The Joker Returns, like all of like we don't talk about all of it.
Well, just reconsider that City of Demon thing, because that is still in that universe whenever that comes through. So,
oh yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'm just saying, like, on the official list that they have, there are some movies that are not included, and I'm going to talk about those as well.
Yeah.
But if you include those, then I believe we're in the 50s, maybe the 60s, well, probably the 60s. But as far as like movies that are officially considered DC animated movies, right now, high 40s probably. So
by the time you catch up, I'm gonna say that they released 3 or 4 movies by the time we get caught up with it.
Yeah, because I'm thinking roughly, I'd say about 3 a year maybe is what'll probably happen. 4 if it's a good year, but I'm thinking 3 a year, and it will probably so. The last movie that you and I watched together was Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham. So that's, I guess, the last movie that is that's the last one as of right now, at least that's available for streaming. That movie came out March of 2023. So it's going to take me, it'll probably be not a full 2 years, but it'll be roughly 2 years from now, a year and change before we get there. So between now and then, yeah, I'm going to say 5.
5. Okay. We'll see what happens, because if we're including, I was excluding the newest one that came out, maybe a couple weeks ago or whatever. But I am excited to see that one, to see, because I want to see your boy Mongol and be like, all right.
Yeah.
It's a nice little take on this. Okay.
So, was there anything else on this movie?
No, man. It was once again, Brandon, this ain't the Batman you want to F with.
No, absolutely not.
It ain't it, brother. It'll fuck you up, as you see.
Yeah.
Everything was just, like I say, that for the listeners, if you don't like the stuff, if you like this movie and you didn't like Ben Affleck's Batman, you're almost contradicting yourself, because that's who he was portraying. I mean, even in the Flash movie, you saw that blue suit that he had, and it was the same blue suit from part 1 that he was rocking. And then he puts on the black suit in part 2, which the black suit is what we were introduced that he was wearing in Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. So I say that big logo of the bat that he has, that's him. That's him, and that's really been a really good broken Bruce Wayne Batman that I was like, I F with this Batman, shit.
Yeah, because that trauma is still sitting right there, and we see it happening.
I didn't lost. Jason has died by now. Dick is doing his things. Don't even know if we even really talking. All this and all that is happening in the Batverse. I really hope James Gunn. I haven't talked about this on the podcast. I'm gonna give you guys my stuff. I really hope James Gunn does a good job with it. I agree that his casting choice for some people has been okay. I listened to your episode of Emerald Knights today, and it was funny because I think by the time you recorded that, you didn't know about the casting of Nathan Fillion being Green Lantern, did you?
I did not.
And then you and Alexis were talking about that. And like, yeah, then boom, I was like, look at them doing their thing and bringing it out. That was funny. That was good. So yeah, I really liked her. She I don't know who that is, but she was cool. And what made me like you, Alexis, is OG Green Lantern was black to you. And I ain't mad at that, girl. I don't know if you black, but you can come to the cookout if you're not, okay? All right. Then you get the ticket now. So yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, we'll see how that Superman goes. I don't know who that guy is at all. I don't know what he's from or anything. Henry Cavill.
He just looks like Henry Cavill a few years ago.
Really, James Gunn could have. Yes, yeah. That dude, whoever he picked, looks. I don't know. He's gonna have to bulk up or something because he's not as big as Henry.
And I think that comes with it.
Yeah,
like I just assume that they're gonna put weight on him for this.
Yeah, they're gonna have to put some weight on it.
Whenever you cast for a superhero movie, like you got to get them in the gym. Like Chris Pratt did not look like that before Star-Lord.
Yeah, you saw what he looked like in your show,
Parks and Rec. Yeah,
yeah. Everybody, I think, is on the same page of Jensen Ackles being Batman for the Tomorrowverse animation world and in live action.
I love Jensen Ackles. He can do whatever he wants.
After his portrayal in The Boys of Soldier Boy, you can be Batman. And after your 2-part movie again, because Batman is the only one who gets 2-part movies because he's the GOAT. But
and we'll talk about those movies later.
Yeah. If they need to make him Batman, I think. Are you still rolling with old boy from 5 for Damian, or what? Are we going somewhere else?
I'm good with him for Damian. It just depends on like if they do that, because with Damian, like there's an age, there are time restrictions for Damian. So like it could be a situation where by the time they want him, he is too old. So
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it really just depends. Like, but if they would have, because honestly, either him or the kid that played Bruce in Gotham, like both of them would have made good Damians, in my opinion. But I think the kid from Gotham is too old at this point.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know how old 5 is, but if he's not too old yet, he's creeping up there. Like it won't be long before he's too old. And so
we'll see who they go, but I'm not mad at his cast choice in Too Far, and
I agree. I think that he's made pretty good casting choices. There's nobody that he's cast that I've been like, I don't know about that. So I'm happy with what I've seen, at least so far.
Because I tell you what, I don't know if she was still involved at this time, whatever, but I know for a fact Andrea was mad as fuck when they casted Jesse Eisenberg as Lex. I know she was, because there's no way in the world that, because she was over. Just think, for you to be over something so long and you did such a great job, and now you step down and somebody else comes in and they do something like that, and you're just like, I've been gone for 3 weeks. What the fuck are y'all doing?
Larry, I'm sure I've gone on the record. That is, in my opinion, the worst casting choice. Period.
Who told you to ever do that? When they did Kevin Spacey as Lex, that was cool. But that is the worst casting. That casting decision, and for years, the worst casting choice that I thought had been made was Topher as Eddie Brock. Oh, yeah. But
Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor is number 1 for the worst casting decisions ever made. The rest of that universe is cast pretty well. I'm good with Joe as Slade.
That was one of that was such
I was surprised at how good that choice was.
It was so good.
Because initially,
so mad we didn't get to do that.
Initially, I didn't like it. Initially, I was like, why would you, like, he could be somebody else. And then I saw him and I was like, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you guys will see what Slade that was, and later on in this stuff as you go through this, because I was like, oh yeah, that's that. Oh yeah, you doing a good job.
Yeah. Ben Affleck is Batman, great. Henry Cavill, great. Gal, good. I love Gal as Wonder Woman.
And it's so it's really sad about the Ray Fisher thing, because I think he did a pretty nice job as Victor, and the dude who played Silas did a nice job too.
Yep.
I was like, that's good. You guys just I don't know who was smoking crack at that time picking Jesse, but yeah.
It's just a terrible casting. It's the worst one, in my opinion. I'm sure that there are other people who think there are other worse ones, but that is the worst casting decision that I think, like, in my opinion, it's number one. Like,
because 2.5 Men actor as Lex wasn't as bad as that.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't get as mad as that.
Because whenever I saw in Supergirl that John Cryer was Lex, I was like, that's not the choice I would have made.
Never.
And then whenever I actually saw him in more episodes, I was like, okay, I want to hate it more. I want to dislike this, but I don't hate it.
It was hard. It was hard because he did an okay job. I was like,
good job. And that's the thing.
You're being real bitch assness right now, and you're killing it.
Yeah, one thing that DC has done, there have been times when they've made a decision, and I'm like, I don't like that, and then I actually see it. I'm like, okay. Maybe y'all know what you're doing a little bit. Maybe you got something here. But yeah, Jesse Eisenberg was just the worst thing they could have. It's so bad. I'm still mad about it. But
yeah, well, peeps, this is my sign off. I came on here for 2 episodes in a row, so I hope that I come back later on during this whole thing in these next 2 years or whatever, because once again, like I said, me and Spencer have been doing this for forever, so the whole DCAU we did together for everything, and you guys are in this for a surprise. It's coming up. Stuff is really coming up.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
I've definitely said
for this you said this came out in January 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that this is the year, y'all. Yeah.
So yeah,
this is the year.
It's been a great time. And yeah, I had to have you on this one because it's so good.
I'm excited to listen to the episode of what starts that off. If you're still gonna pick the person who you said you're gonna pick to be on there, I'm excited to listen to that. I can't wait to be like, hey, ooh, yeah, you already know.
Oh. And so, in the next episode, we will be discussing Superman Unbound. So until then, salutations.